Welcome back to the Sunday Night Show, also known as Drinking in the Dark with Frugal Tiger. We don't have a heck of a lot of news this upcoming week in regards to individual stocks. We had a holiday shortened Christmas week, as well as an upcoming week that's also shortened by holidays. I'm not going to talk too much about individual stocks as there are no earnings, as well as nothing on the IPO calendar worth discussing. So let's talk about major market moving news this upcoming week. The first and foremost is tax selling. Pay attention to that. A lot of traders have made a lot of money this past tax year in 2020, and they could be selling this week as it's their last opportunity to potentially sell at a lower tax rate based on the tax code of this administration versus the tax code of the upcoming administration. It's pretty common knowledge that the incoming administration wants to increase taxes. Capital gains is going to be affected. So it is for a lot of traders, it is their last opportunity to sell at a lower tax rate. So we could be seeing that this week. So the next big piece of news that I want to discuss is the stimulus getting vetoed. This in itself is not that big of a deal because at the end of the day, it's only $600. The current administration is seeking a total of $2,000 as a more reasonable stimulus amount, which is a little bit more reasonable, but it's still not that much money in itself and shouldn't be market moving in itself. But I think the big thing to take away from this here is if we do get a second strand that is not treatable by the current vaccines, or a massive second wave and the supply of vaccinations not being able to keep up for a very long time, well then it's market moving news, because we seem to constantly be in gridlock in terms of getting a basic stimulus out the door that will help citizens. Part of what kept the market and everything afloat last year, beyond a lot of financial backing by the Federal Reserve Bank, a lot of bond buying by the Federal Reserve, was the stimulus. And if we're not getting another round of stimulus that is easily agreed upon, then what's to say that that's going to take place if we have a massive breakout of a second wave or another strand that isn't treatable by this vaccine? I hope this goes through because I know there's a lot of people out there that need the money. Yeah, we'll just wait and see. And fingers crossed on this one. The next big piece of news that I want to discuss is exactly what I hinted at earlier. There is actually a second strand that they found in the UK that's different than the first strand. This strand spreads faster, is more contagious. We don't know yet if it's immune to the current vaccinations. So this is a huge deal. Right now, the market seems to be dealing with it just fine, but we really can't tell too much at this present moment because, you know, a lot of people were expecting a Santa Claus rally and we really haven't had a Santa Claus rally at this point in time. Now, the last piece of market moving news I want to talk about is the fact that states are starting to lock down. California is already in lockdown. Other countries like UK have already been in full lockdown. New York is actually restricting travel access from people who are coming from the UK at this point in time. And we might start to see more of that across the board. And when states start locking down, that affects economic productivity, and bottom line, this affects GDP numbers and other key economic data that the market does look at, that macro investors do look at before they place wide bets on the market. So this is potentially big market moving news. Lower economic productivity from potential lockdowns is a major deterrent in the market. Last year, when the initial states started to lock down because of COVID, we would see massive drops in S&P futures before the market even opened, just on the news of lockdowns. I would pay very close attention to this as I think this is a very big deal. This ongoing lockdowns is something that I am very nervous about. Anyway, that's all I'm watching this upcoming week. It is another holiday shortened week. I'm not really paying attention to too many stocks outside of the names that I mentioned this past week and the week before. Other than that, I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year. I'll see you all next year. Stay safe and thanks again. I just want the money.